I'm going to preview the 2 seed Alabama versus the 6 seed BYU men's basketball game as part of the Sweet 16, which will be played on March 27th at 6:09 p.m. Central Time on CBS. And as of right now, Alabama's favored by 4.5. So I'm going to preview another game on that particular day, then the next day for two different games. Here, and I'm going to explain the records. BYU is 26-9 on the year, 14-6 in the Big 12, while Alabama is 27-8 on the year, 13-5 in the SEC. And I'm going to go like players for both of these teams in terms of rotation, and I will go over keys for the game for both of these teams. And granted, across the board, you got to make plays to win it and don't let the officiating dictate it. I mean, you got to find a way to deal with the back calls here and there and make adjustments on the fly. I'm just saying. So the first player I'm going to mention is Mark Sears, and I'm going to start on Alabama. And he's 6'1", 109-pound guard. That's a senior. And I apologize for looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff. 18.6 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, 2.6 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 1.4 fouls per game, 32.9% on threes on 240 attempts, 84.9% on free throws on 232 attempts. And I'm not mentioning anything less than 0.6 here. And there's obviously Grant Nelson, in which I know he's dealing with. He has been dealing with a knee, but with an injury, but he played 28 minutes last game. So 6'11", 230-pound forward. That's a senior. 11.7 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 1.6 assists. 1.2 blocks per game, 2.6 fouls per game, 1.8 turnovers per game. And really on assists, it's like 2 or less. I'm not going to consider. 27.3% on threes on 88 attempts. Make 2/3 on your free throws on 138 attempts. So next player is Latrell Wrightsell Jr. 6'3", 109-pound guard. And y'all could look at the jersey numbers. I just want. Actually, yeah, he hasn't. Latrell Wrightsell Jr. has not played since November 30th, so ignore that. Sorry. Didn't mean to. Go over that. And is Aiden Holloway. Number 2. He's 6'1", 108-pound guard. It's a sophomore, 11.3 points per game. 0.6 steals per game, 1.7 fouls per game, 1.2 turns per game, 41.7% on threes on 192 attempts, 77.8% on free throws on 54 attempts. And might as well go with Grant Nelson's New Jersey number real fast. Same thing. Grant Nelson's number 4, while Mark Sears is number 1. Now the Baron Philon, number 0, 6'4", 177-pound guard. It's a freshman. 10.5 points per game, 3.3 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, 1.7 turnovers per game, 1.3 steals per game, 1.7 fouls per game, 29.6% on threes on 115 attempts, 75.6% on free throws on 82 attempts. And I'm not going to go over every single guy here. So Chris Youngblood, number 8, 6'4", 223-pound guard. It's a senior, 10 points per game, 2.2 rebounds per game, 1.1 turnovers per game, 0.7 steals per game, 2.2 fouls per game, 39% on threes on 136 attempts, 79.1% on free throws on 43 attempts. There's Clifford Amore, number 11, 6'11", 250-pound center. That's a senior. 7.9 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game, 1.1 blocks per game, 2.7 fouls per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 0 for 1 on threes, 69.9% on free throws on 83 attempts. There's Mohamed Diabate, number 10, 6'7", 215-pound forward. That's a sophomore, 7.5 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 0.7 blocks per game, 0.9 steals per game, 2.4 fouls per game with 1.1 turnovers per game, 48% on threes, but that's only on 25 attempts, 60.2% on free throws on 88 attempts. And I'm going to really go over like if three more guys really here. And that's Darion Reed. Number 35, 6'8" 220-pound freshman. Forward, that's a freshman, 6.3 points per game, 2.9 rebounds per game. 1.8 turnovers per game, 1.3 fouls per game, 27.8% on threes on 36 attempts, 56.4% on free throws on 55 attempts. There's Jaren Stevenson, number 15, 6'11", 215-pound forward. That's a sophomore, 5.7 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, 0.6 steals per game, 2.2 fouls per game, 0.9 turnovers per game, 32% on threes on 97 attempts, 59.7% on free throws on 62 attempts. And the last player we're going to really mention is Aiden Sherrill, number 22, 6'10", 240-pound forward. That's a freshman, 3.2 points per game, 2.9 rebounds per game, 1.3 fouls per game, 27.8% on threes on 36 attempts, 47.5% on free throws on 40 attempts. So, okay. So, I pretty much went over the guys I need to on that. And granted, I know BYU does not have all the heights on these players. I know. And so, I'm going to just mention number and classification and all this. So, Richie Saunders, number 15, 6'5", 200-pound forward. That's a junior. 16.3 points per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, 1.1 steals per game, 1.3 turnovers per game, 1.9 fouls per game, 43.1% on threes on 181 attempts, 82.9% on free throws on 111 attempts. And there's Igor Demon, which he could very well be a one and done type. Just making a note there. Number 3. He's a guard, and that's a freshman, and there's no height and weight on him. 10.5 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, 5.4 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game, 3 turnovers per game, 1.3 fouls per game, 28.1% on threes on 146 attempts, 68.8% on free throws on 80 attempts. And it's Trevin Nell, number 21, 6'5", 109-pound guard. That's a senior, 9.1 points per game, 2.3 rebounds per game, 0.9 steals per game, 1.9 fouls per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 44% on threes on 66 attempts, 73.2% on free throws on 56 attempts. And this Fuseni Troyor, number 45, 6'6", 240-pound center. It's for 8.7 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, 1.3 turns per game, 1.4 fouls per game, 25% on threes, but that's on 4 attempts, 81.6% on free throws on 76 attempts. And there's Dawson Baker, number 25, 6'4", 109-pound guard. That's a junior, 10.6 points per game, 1.9 turnovers per game, 1.4 fouls per game, 38.7% on threes on 106 attempts, 77.3% on free throws on 44 attempts. There's Kanan Catchings, which he's related to Tamika Catchings, if you can't tell. Number 6, he's a freshman. There's no height or weight listed. 7.3 points per game, 2.2 rebounds per game, 0.6 steals per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 1.2 fouls per game, 35.5% on threes on 121 attempts, 58.7% on free throws on 46 attempts. There's Kepakita, number 13, 6'8", 231-pound center. That's a junior. 7.3 points per game, 7.9 rebounds per game, 1.2 blocks per game, 0.6 steals per game, 0.8 turns per game, 2.3 fouls per game. 40.8% on free throws, though, on 71 attempts. There's Dallin Hall, number 30. 6'4", 200-pound guard. That's a junior. 6.9 points per game, 2.2 rebounds per game, 4.2 assists per game, 1.6 turnovers per game, 0.7 steals per game, 1.8 fouls per game, 36.4% on threes on 99 attempts, 67.2% on free throws on 61 attempts. And is Maywat Mag, number 0, 6'7", 216-pound forward. That's a senior. 5.8 points per game, 2.1 rebounds per game, point 0.7 steals per game, 0.6 turnovers per game, 1.7 fouls per game, 39.1% on threes on 69 attempts, 76.6% on free throws on 47 attempts. And there's only like two more guys I'm really going to mention here, and it's Mihailo, Mihailo. I apologize for butchering that. Boskovic. Number 5, he's a forward and he's a freshman, no height or weight listed. 30.9 points per game. 3.7 points per game. 1 foul per game. 0.6 turnovers per game. 26.8% on threes on 56 attempts. 81.5% on free throws on 27 attempts. And the last player I'm going to mention is really Trey Stewart. Number 1, 6'2", 190-pound guard. It's a senior, 1.7 points per game, 1 foul per game, 36.4% on threes on 33 attempts, 75% on free throws, but that's on 8 attempts. So obviously, you gotta make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively. You can't contain the shooters, contain the slashers, make the other team miserable on offense, and create some havoc on defense. You gotta limit the points out turnovers, points in the paint. Points out turnovers, points in the paint, fast break points as well, and of course second chance points. And you got to get the defensive boards while getting offensive rebounds, and you got to have all those points, and you got to make the free throws count, and you don't want the other team live at the free throw line. Now, I am concerned about Alabama's defense. If you're an Alabama fan, you got to be concerned about your defense when BYU could absolutely light you up. When they make shots, they are dangerous. So you gotta get force some turnovers, and it's kind of the key for both of these teams. You gotta limit your foul trouble while getting them in foul trouble. You gotta do this for your seniors and all for those players that are gonna be one and done types. I'm just saying. You gotta hustle the other team. I'm making another note. And I do think this is gonna be an entertaining ball game with two offensive teams. Now the question is, who's gonna come up with the bigger stops? That remains to be seen. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later on the road. 800 subscribers, course, ultimate goal is 1,000 more. So my money to this course, like a video, comment video really helps YouTube algorithms. More people see us, and the video does help as well. So more people can watch. And if you're watching and not subscribed, hit subscribe button for the notification bell as well.